Everyone, I'm Scott Wallin with Dairy Management Incorporated. I'm so happy to bring you another discussion and more insights from our Checkoff leadership. This conversation is an extension of the Your Dairy Checkoff podcast and is designed to provide a concise look at dairy promotion efforts and strategies that are driving sales and trust of dairy. Today, I am joined by Marla Buerk, who is Executive Vice President of Innovation for DMI, and Norrie Wilson, who provides innovation insights for DMI as well. Marla and Norrie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You know, the three of us have talked quite a bit over the last several weeks about a digital resource tool called Innovate with Dairy. And in fact, that's the URL, innovatewithdairy.com. And this is an amazing tool. It's one of a kind, and it's really designed to be that one-stop shop for dairy entrepreneurs. Anybody that wants to innovate with dairy can go there. They're going to see kind of an A to Z look of what it takes to innovate with dairy products. There's over 250 vetted resources there. So this is really a fantastic resource that your team has put together. And I know once you had the tool created, you then wanted to kind of take it on the road a little bit. And pretty recently, you were at a major event in the country called EXPO WEST. Marla, let me start with you and talk a little bit about EXPO WEST. First of all, what is this event and why did it make sense for the Checkoff to be there?
Yeah, EXPO West is actually the biggest natural food show in the country. It's got over 70,000 people that attend there. It's basically where entrepreneurs and industry showcase their food and beverage products. A lot of times they're their latest food and beverage products, their innovations, the things that are really on trend. It's attended by retailers, investors, and a lot of press. And traditionally, the show's been dominated by plant-based food and beverage, but we wanted to showcase dairy this year. And we wanted to show that dairy is the ultimate natural food to innovate with.
Can you talk a little bit more? I know you went into this event with several objectives. What did you most want to accomplish?
So our major objective is always to promote the sale of dairy. And our key strategy to do that is really through product innovation. I mean, we really have to keep up with consumer needs, and we do that through product innovation, right? So at EXPO West, we showcased and sampled some amazing dairy innovations. We showcased dairy-based beverage creamers that only had 5 simple ingredients, so not like the ones that are currently on market with, oils and fillers that are non-dairy. We showcased ultra-filtered lactose-free milk with more protein and less sugar. We showed new super premium ice cream that had cookies and crumbles in it that actually stayed crunchy. So there was a moisture migration innovation there. We showed new clear carbonated beverage that had protein and probiotics from fresh upcycled whey. So both a great product and a great story. And then we brought Brian Fiscalini, the CEO of Fiscalini Farms. He sampled delicious, unique flavored cheeses from his dairy. They were unbelievably good. And then he also talked a lot about sustainability, about his farm practices, as well as, U.S. dairy farm practices and how sustainable we've become. And that's a high interest at this show. So that was great. And then, as you said, we showcased the dairy digital resource tool.
It's always great when we bring our dairy farmers front and center like that and let people who don't know dairy farmers have a chance to interact with them. Norrie, I want to talk with you a little bit. Obviously, you were there at the booth, lots of interactions with people. Talk a little bit about those conversations you had and what sort of response we had from being there.
Oh my gosh, Scott, we had an overwhelmingly positive reaction to the dairy exhibitor booths that Marla was telling you about. As a matter of fact, when people turned the corner and they saw our undeniably dairy sign, the first question they asked us, is that real dairy? And we said, yes, it is. And they just made this deep beeline to sample the products at the innovation booths and loved the flavor and the taste of it. And not only that, we were really excited because we had great interest from investors who are interested in investing in these dairy innovations. So they were meeting with the companies right there on the spot. And we also had buyers from retailers who are interested in adding it to their store shelves. And that was one of our primary objectives. We want to be able to drive distribution for dairy-based innovation. So we're really excited about all of that. We also had a lot of other attendees there that Marla was talking about. We had CPG companies. They had a lot of general interest as well. They were coming up to us, really excited to see dairy there, asking us if we're coming back next year. And we're saying we're absolutely looking forward to it.
I know it was much more than just having a booth on site. You also led an educational session about some research that was based on consumers' perceptions of the health and wellness products that are available to them in the marketplace. Can you talk a little bit first about what that research found and how that was useful to this audience?
Yeah, I want to start by just sharing our overall goal for that, because what we were trying to do is to create this real experiential immersion into the transformational power of dairy. And we did that through 4 key elements at this education session. So the first one is we set up 5 sampling stations for the innovative products that Marla was telling you about. And then the second thing we did coinciding with that is we had this presentation on what consumers really want to meet their health and wellness needs. And that presentation was based on this extensive survey that DMI did. It went out to over 12,000 US consumers, ages 2 to 75, and it helped them to really identify and profile in depth what consumers' health and wellness needs were as it relates to the food and beverages that they consume. And I have to tell you, one of the surprise findings from that research, can you imagine over 50% of consumers are dissatisfied with the food and beverages that they're consuming for their health and wellness needs? That's huge, over 50%. And we know one of the best ways to meet consumer needs is to actually know what those needs truly are. So what we did for the presentation itself is we really focused on sharing out the bundle of both functional and emotional benefits that consumers are looking for across the different situations or occasions that they're in, because we know, your needs change depending on the situation or occasion that you're in. We also worked with a company called Spins. Don't know if everyone's familiar with them, but they happen to be the only company that aligns natural, regional, conventional, and specialty retail data. So they leverage this very powerful database to help uncover different growth drivers for these occasions, and also to bring to life all this learning through in-market innovative examples. And not surprising to us, a lot of those examples that they brought to life were dairy innovations in the marketplace. Now, the third thing that we wanted to do, and Marla already touched on this a little bit, is we really wanted to spotlight how dairy farmers are meeting consumer sustainability needs, because we know that's a real ante in the marketplace. So she mentioned we had Brian Fiscalini there, and he talked at this education session, told his story, and really brought it to life what the sustainable farming practices are, how important they are, not just to his farm, but to the community. He talked about all these great things that they're doing for renewable energy. And then the last thing that we did, as you already mentioned, the digital innovation resource tool. We've been rolling this out. We had a great audience here of our target audience for it. So we introduced it to them as well to sign up and to leverage this great tool. And those are the 4 key elements that we had.
Norrie, what was the audience's response to the research?
It was great. First of all, we had standing room only for this education session. We even had to close the doors. And we had this great mix of like investors, retailers, media, healthcare professionals, CPG companies. As a matter of fact, we had the 2 largest beverage CPG companies, as well as the largest snacking company in attendance. And not only that, their reaction to Brian Fiscalini, they were touched and impressed by him. They came up to us afterwards, how engaged and emotional they were with him. And I have to say, they loved hearing from the dairy farmers directly.
Great work. And it's so exciting, from the research to see the opportunities that are out there for dairy, and just know that there is a receptive audience to dairy and all the ways it can be innovated with. Marla, I want to finish up with you. Now that Expo West has passed us a little bit, you've had a chance to catch your breath. What do you hope to most do moving forward from this event? What are some of the takeaways and learnings maybe that come from being at Expo West?
Yeah, we did great there. I mean, the consumers were really excited about us being in there. The retailers were excited. The investors, as Norrie said, were excited. The press was even excited. So we plan on going back again next year. And very simply, what we want from Expo West is to encourage more companies to successfully innovate with dairy. More innovation drives more consumer demand and more sales for our farmers. So yeah, we're really excited about it for the future.
It absolutely is exciting. Anytime you're talking innovation and entrepreneurship around dairy, I know that gets our dairy farmers very, very excited. Well, I want to thank both of you today for joining me and really enjoy the conversation. For dairy farmers who want to learn more about their dairy checkoff, be sure to visit dairycheckoffpodcast.com. Thanks, Marla and Norrie.